Hi amigos, today we have Bigbelly, and Eduardo is going to show off his deck profile that he did well at ARG Indy, and he got top 8, and you got 6th place, correct?
Yes, 6th place.
Awesome. Like to show it off?
Yeah. So for starters, I was playing Pensacola. That's because it's very different from like the standard like lesser writer and that kind of stuff. So most of the 2s that you end up writing all work on Vanguard, so you don't have to ever worry about not having a way of killing something for your deck builds in Meek and Sabros. So that's why I was playing Pensacola, because it's a free card sometimes, and it's just like it's better than just having to counterblast and kill something. So
you're talking about like Telescope Rabbit?
Yeah, it was over Telescope Rabbit.
Gotcha.
But by the end of the event, I realized I didn't even want to play this because at the same time I didn't do anything. Like it never hit, and against Overlord it did even less because it just died all the time. So I'm planning on swapping him out for Guarding Mole, and this is gonna work better just because you can get to kill something that you might not want to normally kill. So like you can call something like a Crayon Tiger and not care because you can get it to get killed, and then Guarding Mole back to your hand because he's Counterblast 1 at the end of battle. At the end of turn that something died, you Counterblast 1, put him in soul, and then you return the card to your hand. So you can kill off like a Crayon Tiger and then just add it to your hand, so that way you don't actually lose anything, and you can have it for your combo plays later, which is really nice. So I'm planning on doing this swap.
So do they die and hit the drop?
Yeah, the card will die, hit the drop, and then you Counterblast 1, do his skill, which returns it to your hand.
So your Duck Bell will go off?
Yes, all your effects will still trigger. It's just he lets you use things that you normally wouldn't want to use, so that way you don't waste resources. You get to manage your resources more.
Oh, that's neat actually.
Yeah. For zeros, it's very standard. For koala, I'm just not even gonna try to say the first word because it's gonna end up sounding. I'm just gonna butcher it. It's not worth it. For koala, I mean, it's the same thing as every other heal trigger. Bind 2. It's pretty much always soul charge. You normally don't need the counter charge. Sometimes you do, but like it's very rare. The deck doesn't really counter boss much. Most of the effects are free now.
Would you rather have the soul for your stride and
yeah,
the PT?
normally, yeah, I was actually counter charging a lot more because the deck's not done. It was not done for the event. Mm-hmm. Then we have for Pond Belly because Soul and it's Bigbelly. Everybody should play 4 of this. I only had 3 before the event, and then I got a 4th one, and I was like, yeah, I get to play a 4th one over Gururu. So yeah, that works. So yeah, 4 Pond Belly. It's very simple for getting numbers and stuff. You could also just pump it and then do other things with it. 4 Ruler Chameleon. This was working fine just because it's another target that you get to kill without losing anything. And like I said, the counterblast doesn't matter too much because most things don't counterblast anymore. It's really nice. But I was thinking of swapping this out for the stand trigger that goes to Soul to get something 3K, just because sometimes I felt like I needed like that extra little push, and the stand trigger might have been helpful. But right now it was I was playing Ruler Chameleon, which was working fine for the most part. And then for the crit, that is just a Morgul clone.
What the? You were playing
12 crit, yes.
12 crit.
Yeah, everybody's playing like 12 crit because that's how you kill people. Like
holy crap!
So it was for this guy.
I'm glad
it's very
to
simple.
play against you.
It's just a crit. It goes to Soul, gives me 3K. Sometimes hits numbers depending on what you're doing. For instance, like if you have a 9K and you pump it up to 12, and then you give the whole column like plus, what is that? Plus 12. So if you get like Balaro for plus 12, and then you have a 7K, it's 31, which is why the 3K sometimes matters. Sometimes. This is why you don't need. This is why counterblast isn't important, because this counter charges, draws you cards for the cost of a soul blast. That's why soul is like so important, because this card is so dumb. Like this card is ridiculous. Like, you'll have cards that you'll at times have like 8 card hands, but you'll have like this, and you're like, oh, look at that, I have like a 9 or 10 card hand, because it's just gonna cycle into other things. And if you draw more of these, you feel even safer. It's really great.
It's very deceiving.
Yeah, you could have like a very small hand, and then just your opponent's just like, well, I just lost the game because I went in, and they didn't actually have like a tiny hand. For Duckbill, because he just cycles. He's a free card, and that's pretty much it. Like he's on place. It's pressure early in because you can call it without caring, and it doesn't. You don't lose anything. It's really strong. It's the same reason why you always played for Duckbill for Mike, because it's just aggro without losing anything. And then I played one of what's his name, Body Faction Mouse. I only played one of him because it's like having a 5th Duckbill that can recycle himself sometimes, but even if he doesn't recycle himself, it doesn't matter. It's just a card you can target with all your effects and still get more benefit out of it. So I only played one because it's, like I said, it's like a 5th Duckbill, which a 5th Duckbill is just a 5th Duckbill, so, you know. And then 4 Mike. This lets you play less grade 3s than what's normal. So he's on place, give something the effect that during the end phase when it dies, it hits drop zone, search your deck for grade 3. So you play 4 of this because it's the same thing as Duckbill. It's just you get to play it, not care, because you're not even losing anything. And then we have 3 Stride Fodder. I only played 3 Stride Fodder because I had to make room for the 1 of this. And this, in my opinion, is more important than having a 4th Stride Fodder. Because more times than not, it doesn't matter if you'll have like 11 card hands, 12 card hands. So like even if you have to stride with 2 things, it doesn't matter that much because you're so far ahead that you don't really care. But like that doesn't happen often. That's why 3 is like a good number. It's like a perfect number. And then we're gonna go to 2s. 4 Crayon Tiger. I don't know if anybody needs this to be explained, but Crayon Tiger pretty much makes the deck. Like without Crayon Tiger, this deck would probably not be that good. More than likely not be
Probably
that good.
struggle more.
It would struggle a lot. Like this card is amazing because even in the Kagura matchup, it's good because you're guaranteed the card even if they blow up whatever you pump. You could pump its booster, make decent numbers. You know, it's great. It's just it makes the deck. 3 Compass Lion. This won me so many games because if I played against Aquaforce, like so my matches were 2 Grandora, 2 Aquaforce, 2 Overlord, and then 1 Spike Brother player. And every game that I rode this, like, not only was I put so much farther ahead because they couldn't rush me back, like against Overlord, if you ride this, they can't, like, they get punished for having to sack their Conroe to search for like a Stride Fodder or something like that because they'll only end up being at best be a 10k base. And you're like, okay, cool, it's a 1 pass, I don't care. And same thing with Soccer Force. Like if they try to rush you with titles, they need to call boosters, which makes it worse for them on the back end where you go like rush them harder. So it's really, really good to just ride an 11k and not care.
Did you ever stay an extra turn?
Oh, there was plenty of games where I was like, it's fine, I'll stay on this and not care because the mentality I had pretty much the entire event was if he Sabreeze me, that means I'm not dying that turn, which I actually only like against Jaime, which was round 7. He actually Sabreeze me and killed me that turn, that was 1 game in the entire day. But yeah,
he pulled some bull crap.
No, he had a But yeah, no, like if they Sabreeze you, you don't care when you're on 11k because it doesn't matter. You made them waste 2 counterblast, and you still get first stride. You get first stride with coats, like you get
the first real stride.
Yeah. You get a lot more pressure out of it, which is fine because most of your first strides will generate you a lot more cards anyway. So being on 11k was great. One of the best games was I was on 2. I had 3 Bigbelly in my hand. My opponent was still on 2. I thought I was playing a Stop Us, and he was on 2, but he was legitimately great. Like I didn't know this, and I was just sitting on 11 base, and I'm like, that's fine. You can't even hit me. And so I was just pressuring. He was pressuring me, and I'm like, I don't know what he's doing. And then he ends up G-assisting, and I'm like, this is great. I'm gonna just ride Bigbelly, call that thing, pump it, and then he ended up losing that game. It was pretty funny.
That was Chris, right?
Yeah, I don't know his name. I think that was Chris. Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
And then I ended up playing 3 Artistic Ocelot. It's literally just Binoculus Tiger, but better because Binoculus Tiger not only does it have to punch attack Vanguard, this doesn't. Like this is you can attack a rear guard, which is great because sometimes you don't want to give him damage, or sometimes you can't even swing at Vanguard because it's not going to hit. So you can just poke pressure a rear guard and still pump something. But it also has the second effect that will draw you a card, which is the same thing. Because normally with Binoculus Tiger, at most you're pumping twice. So this is the same thing. You get to pump twice, but you get to counterblast 1 for a free card essentially, which means this is just Binoculus Tiger but better with upside.
I like the art.
Yeah, it's also it's really adorable. They're all adorable. Then for Bigbelly, because he is amazing. He is free. He is Tuskmaster. They literally just they took the idea of like Tuskmaster and the Teacher's Cane of Affection and put it into 1 card and made it beautiful. Like they made it free, so the deck doesn't struggle with counterblast anymore. Normally your first stride plays were like anywhere from 2 to 3 counterblast. Now it's like you spend only like 1 counterblast and you're perfectly fine. not only is that, but like he's like I said, he's Tusk Master, so success is 20k. When he's successful, he can swing at Vanguard, kind of bust one standard Vanguard, give it 4k. It is beautiful. He is like a very great card to have.
I noticed that you can do it on ride. So
yes,
you
it's
ride
also
a grade
it's
3.
on ride and or on strike, but once per turn. It's great, so you can ride him in pressure and get a free card out of it. And it's great because if you're going, if you end up going first, and it's a deck, and you play against a deck that you don't care about their first strike, like if their first strike is not potent, you can, if you have a Pawn Belly, you can ride this, call Pawn Belly, give it, pump it, and you can have it swing at like a rear guard or like boost it, swing at Vanguard, and then put it in soul to pump your Vanguard, draw a card, and then you'll still get the second draw, the draw off its effect. So you like just netted a free card, which is really, really strong.
That's really cool.
Yeah. And then I played 2 Rhino. This card won me, actually only won me 1 game. In testing, it won me 1,000,000 games, but again, in the entire event, I only ended up using Rhino plus Mana Magarmer once. And it was a game that I was already winning anyways, but it was just like overkill, because sometimes you want to do that, you know? It's just there as an option. But this wins so many games, because the pressure of calling, if your opponent not being able to call zeros is incredibly strong when this is big. But yeah, so yeah, this won a lot of games. For the strides, win him thirst, because this is when like everything goes bad, and you just I'll stride him thirst, because it's Soul Blast 1. Sometimes you get a free card, sometimes it's just free pressure. It's if everything goes wrong, you just stride him thirst. That's kind of how it's always been. I only played, actually didn't even play this. This was a Zoa for the event. I was a friend that I was borrowing. I never strode Zoa once. Like, it literally just sat there the entire time. Like, it never came up. It wasn't worth it. Like, if you're contemplating making this deck, don't get a Zoa. It's not worth it. Like, literally, for this deck, like, I literally never had the opportunity. Like, I had the opportunity, but it just never was worth it. It never mattered. 1 bottle of rule. It would be 3. I only own 1. So... I strode him very, very rarely because I only have 1, so it's not like I can turbo out the G-Zone. So I used them generally like 2nd or 3rd stride, because sometimes it was like plus 12, plus 16 to the front row, which is enough to apply like pressure to kill your opponent. And the free cards sometimes are really, really nice. That and it works well with blowing up the board against certain matchups. I played 4 of the greatest card ever. Manam Manam. Manam Manam is kind of plus 1, flip a copy of, if you have 2 or more face-up cards in G-Zone, you flip a copy of him. And then you give 2 things plus, you give 2 rear guards plus 4, and the effect that when they swing, if they're 20k or greater, your opponent cannot guard a grade 1s or greater. With Rhino, he says no zeros from hand, so your opponent can only guard with intercepts, guard with like abilities of like if you play against like Gargoyle or like Claret Sword Revolt or whatever, or G guards. When your opponent has no intercepts, and you have this plus a Crayon Tiger, and you get a crit on this, your opponent's generally just dead. Generally, there's not much they can do. They're just like that happens a lot. That's exactly how I killed my the first Lack of Force player I played against. I was like, I strode this, I did this, I had a Crayon Tiger, I hit a crit on this. He was at 2, he went to 6.
Holy crap!
He was dead. Then there is a pair of Sage Saint, because with Balarulu, this is just that. This card is just this card, but better. You rarely want to do this, so like it's like if you have a full set of this, but you don't, because you only have you're only using 3 cards. But this is sometimes used. Sometimes like it's like this card. Like I said, it's like this card, but worse, because it only pumps 1 thing. And then you have 1 Fernigus. I served this once, and it's literally just, again, it's similar to the Hermthirds. It's when everything goes bad, sometimes either you use it as a beater, and sometimes you just use it because you need cards desperately. I did it, the one time I started this was because I needed a beater, and I was like, cool, it's like 40 something. 1 GB8, never strode it. I actually ended up flipping it all the time off of like, all the times that I did Balarulu. The other dude.
Aslan.
Yeah, Aslan. Yeah, I didn't end up starting it. It's just, I mean, with the turns you do start, this is like generally like it's the all or nothing turn. Obviously, it's like one of the worst GBAs, just because you have to literally commit your whole hand. Literally have to commit your whole hand. And then G guards for the event, I was playing only 1 Spangled, 1 Ardillo, 1 Almirage, and then 2 of the Turtle. is the turtle. This turtle is what also makes the deck really, really strong because, again, when you have only like anywhere from like 6 to 8 cards, if you have like 2 heal triggers or whatever, if you have a heal trigger and you're able to trigger this effect for the draw, it's like you have more cards in hand that you actually don't. Makes your opponent want to commit more to try to kill you, and then it turns out you have like 11 cards in hand with quotes because, you know, they just cycled. So that's why this turtle was really, really strong. And it's just big guard. The one Al Mirage was literally, I was like, I don't want to play this card. And I was like, it's around Zoe. I get around Grindora. Then I was like, I played one because,
just in case.
Yeah, and it actually honestly didn't matter. Like against Grindora, like it's a matchup where you're already just winning anyways. The Al Mirage is just like, just overkill. Like it's not necessary by any means. And this is the part that by the end of the event, I was like, it's not worth playing Ardillo. Ardillo's not worth it. This is like Ardillo, but better. Because you also get a card out of it. And I'm swapping Ardillo out for a second Spangled, because there were many, many, many games where I literally was like, I can double Spangled and draw a shit ton of cards and then not die. But I only had one Spangled because I was like, oh, you know, Ardillo's going to be nice. And I literally never used Ardillo. Like, literally, I never used him. So, yeah, double Spangled is way better than having an Ardillo. But, yeah. And that is the deck. That was the deck I was playing against. Like I said, my matchups were... Round 1, I played against Grindora. Round 2, I played against Grindora. Round 3, I played against Spikes. Then it was Aquaforce. Then it was Kagero. No, I lie. Round 3 was Kagero. Round 4 was Spikes. Then I went back to Aquaforce. No, I went back to Kagero, then back to Aquaforce. Yeah, something like that.
I think you did Aquaforce then Overlord.
Something like that. Yeah, I went to Aquaforce, then I went to Overlord, then Aquaforce. And I lost my last 2 rounds. I played it when round 6. I played against Robbie. It was like, by that point of the event, I was like, it was like I played the matchup enough times like against Overlord where it's like, if you just rush him enough, like it's like a 50-50. Like sometimes you win, sometimes you don't. Like it's literally just a coin toss. Like there's not much you can do about that matchup. There's just not. Like especially not in this build. Like I don't play Lesser Rider because I'm just like, against everything else, Lesser Rider is a hindrance and it's not worth playing. And even without it, you get the extra rush value, which means it becomes like a coin flip, which is fine. Sometimes like I said, sometimes you win, sometimes you don't.
But then you got Sabreeze.
Yeah, I did get Sabreeze. That was the one. Like I said, that's the one. Round 7 was against Hyman, and that was the one game that I got Sabreeze and died. He had Sabreeze and like double L, like Adelaide, and I was just dead because, you know, shit happens.
Cool.
Yeah, that was the deck.
Anything else you want to mention? You mentioned a good amount of changes. You mentioned your matchup, so it's all good.
I mean, yeah, I don't think so. Like, I'm planning on testing stand triggers. I do think that stand triggers are probably better than applying the Ruler Chameleon, but that's just testing. That's like something that might happen. I don't know. But yeah, that was the event, and that was the deck that I played.
All right, thank you, Eduardo. Well, see you guys next time. See ya.